This is my solo review for Tapestry, a civilization game from Stegmaier Games. I'm only reviewing the one-player game right now, or solo mode. I'll be doing a multiplayer review later, so if you enjoyed this, please check that out. And always, if you enjoyed this video, please like and please subscribe. So, Tapestry, as you may know, is a civilization game designed by Stegmaier Games, Stegmaier Games' Jamey Stegmaier, who's done Scythe and Euphoria and Viticulture, are probably his most well-known games. And and they've always included a solo mode, or I think most of his games include a solo mode. So this review is focusing specifically on the solo mode, and I will talk about some of the things I liked and some of the other stuff. So let's start with the components. So I have some examples here. These are various houses. They all look extremely good. The detail is actually, I think, very good on all the little houses. And the fact that he included all of this stuff in the base game is great. I even really like the outposts, and the player cubes are pretty good as well. I think most people will gravitate towards the landmark miniatures. These are for putting on your player boards, and they look really good. I love the fact that they're not painted, or maybe they are, but they're very well done. There's various types. I mean, they look kind of like weirdly futuristic. I don't know what else to say, but also some like classical stuff like this barn. Overall, those are really good. The artwork is, I think, also incredible. When you're placing these tiles on the board, they look extremely good. They line up really well, and the landforms look really good together. Detail was paid across all aspects of the artwork. So I think overall the components are extremely good in this game. The one detractor is, I think that the player mats, these ones, and the player boards themselves could have been made out of thicker cardboard. So these are kind of thin. Now they did do like a kind of a rough treatment to them so your pieces don't slip off, but maybe that's one negative with the components. Overall, very good. Now let me talk about the rules complexity. So with the solo mode, there's going to be two sets of rules you need to learn. So there's the solo mode rules, which are actually longer than the base rules, and the base rule book, or I guess maybe the same length as the base rule book. So overall, not a super complex game. I think that is one of the major benefits this design style of Jamey Stegmaier, is that he really went after like a minimalist design. And for the solo mode, I think it works very well. Let me talk about the asymmetry or the replayability here. So each game is going to be, you're essentially going to have a random civilization. For solo mode, there's going to be some recommended exclusions, obviously, but most civilizations work in the solo mode, and they're going to give you slightly different abilities. So it's going to kind of tell you what you need to focus on for the game. So for example, leaders, you're going to be able to advance in one technology track for each income phase that you take. And merrymakers, I think you like build up on a track, so you'll get extra bonuses as you go through. So overall, I mean, I think they're very different civilizations. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily balanced, and I think time will tell, on that. But they do provide a lot of replayability and fun. There's also a randomness to the Automa or empire that you're playing against in the solo mode, and that randomness really gives you a different feeling for each game, and you have to adjust your strategy for that. Finally, with the solo mode, you're going to have various tech tiles, which I think maybe not as important, but there's going to be tapestry cards. So let's take a look at a few tapestry cards here. So some of these will be, there's basically one of each type except for traps in the deck. And for this one is, in this area, you get all bonuses that cost money, you get for free, or cost resources you get for free. And this one is like whenever you explore, draw extra tiles. So they kind of give you a direction to go, and I think it works really well for solo mode. So overall, I think the gameplay for solo mode is very engaging. I think that each time I played, I found that the Automa was doing, I guess, different things, right? Because there's like a base Automa and then a Shadow Empire Automa, and you can see my playthrough earlier if you want to see how that works. And I felt like each game I was very engaged on what I was trying to do. Now, there seems to be, at least I've developed a strategy where you tend to want to get the Automa to shift tracks to make it less optimal for them. So you want to kind of race the Automa in whatever track it's going after, and that really helps your score because you're able to collect more landmarks and actually reduce the Automa's score. What I found is it's not, at least on normal level, not terribly difficult to beat the Automa. With some good strategy and maybe a little bit of luck, you can. But I can imagine on the harder modes, it would be way more difficult to defeat the Automa. So overall, for the solo mode, I will give Tapestry a 9 out of 10 rating. I think it's one of the more engaging solo games I've played. I think that the replayability is very high. It doesn't take terribly long after I've learned to play it. I could do it in an hour. I think you could probably get it down to 45 minutes of play, so you could play a few times through really quickly with some different setups, different random things, etc. And I think the components make it look good, and it's very entertaining and replayable. The last thing I'd like to talk about is these reference guides in terms of, I've skipped for components. So these reference guides are really well done. There's 2 of them included in the game. After you learn the actions, most of the time you don't need to refer to them, but sometimes you might have to for some of the later actions that maybe you don't use a lot if you're playing solo. So overall, I think it's a very good game for solo play. The final thing I want to mention is, if you see my playthrough, I use this solo web app, I guess. So it's just a web page that someone created that's freely available, and I'll include a link in the video. But you can choose to play the Shadow Empire variant for 2 players, which I think, I haven't played a 2-player game, but would make the 2-player game much more engaging. Or you can use the full Automa for multiplayer or for solo play. And this app really sped up the gameplay for me. That's really how I got it down to be pretty quick, because normally you're flipping these cards and you're looking at them, you're trying to decide. The app does all that for you. It keeps track of the points for the most part for the Automa player, and really just speeds up decision making. So there you have it. That is my Tapestry solo review. Please take a look at, probably in the next week or so, I'll have a multiplayer review up as well. Please, if you like my channel, subscribe and take a look at our other videos. Thank you.